You speak when you should act. You hesitate while life slips by. But 400 years ago, a warlord burned through hesitation and reshaped a nation. Oda Nobunaga decided what others debated. In this lesson, you will learn his method, how to eliminate indecision, to strike with brutal intention, to let your actions define you. The world doesn't need another voice. It needs a decision. This is the samurai method. You hesitate because your mind fears exposure. Is less than hashon. 5 is greater than. You hesitate because your mind is still trying to stay safe. You want to choose, but not be judged. You want to act, but only if it's guaranteed to work. You want results, without the exposure that decisions demand. That's why you overthink. That's why you talk in circles. That's why you make plans, and then let them die quietly in your head. It's not because you lack intelligence. It's because you still believe there's a perfect moment to act. But there isn't. There never was. Every decisive act in history was born in fire, in risk, uncertainty, and confrontation. And the man who waits for clarity becomes the man who gets left behind. The samurai did not survive by being cautious. He survived by committing, and no one understood this better than Oda Nobunaga. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't wait for the right timing. He forced it. He created it. He moved while others debated. And because of that, he won. You hesitate because you think you can avoid loss. But Nobunaga teaches something else. If you hesitate, you lose by default. Indecision is not a pause. It's a surrender. It's the quiet death of direction. And the longer you live there, the smaller you become. Most men die not from weakness, but from never choosing. And the truth is this: your fear isn't about the choice. It's about being seen failing after making it. It's about the exposure that comes when you step forward and say, "This is what I will do." But no one builds legacy from the shadows. And no enemy fears a man who won't commit. If you want to change your life, start here. Make the cut, own the choice, and let the world adjust to your decision, not the other way around. Who was Oda Nobunaga? Is less than hashon. 5 is greater than. He was not born to unify Japan. He was born to destroy the systems that made it impossible. Oda Nobunaga was a warlord in a time when power was inherited, not earned, when clans clung to tradition, and hesitation was disguised as honor. He didn't wait for his turn. He took it. While others bowed to politics, Nobunaga moved armies. While generals debated, he was already burning their castles. He was the first to use firearms effectively in battle, the first to restructure command, the first to ignore the rituals that slowed down victory. Not because he was reckless, but because he understood that in war, speed is strategy. He crushed resistance, not just with soldiers, but with precision, with psychological warfare, with bold moves no one else would dare to try. His enemies called him ruthless, but history calls him necessary, because Nobunaga didn't conquer with noise. He conquered with force of mind. He acted where others stalled, and for that, he became the storm that broke centuries of fragmentation. This is not just a story about war. It's a lesson in decisiveness. Nobunaga was not careful. He was clear. He didn't wait for signs. He became one. If you're afraid to offend, to fail, or to be seen, you will never move like he did. But if you study his method, you will learn to cut faster, commit harder, and act with an edge that hesitation cannot survive. The principles of the Nobunaga method. is less than Hasson. 5 hash is greater than. Oda Nobunaga didn't just win battles. He broke patterns. He acted with a level of clarity that left no room for negotiation. His method was simple, brutal, and effective. If you want to move like him in life, in business, in purpose, you must learn these 4 principles. 1. Destroy hesitation before it spreads. Hesitation isn't just a delay, it's a disease. It multiplies the longer you let it live. Nobunaga didn't wait until he was sure. He moved when others were still calculating. That speed didn't come from impulse. It came from resolve. Once he chose, he committed completely. So ask yourself, how many of your goals are dying from hesitation, not from failure, but from the rot of inaction? If the answer isn't none, you already know what must be cut. 2. Remove the unnecessary completely. Nobunaga didn't negotiate with weakness. He erased it. He didn't keep loyalists who slowed him down. He didn't cling to traditions that made no sense. He removed whatever stood between him and momentum, and that included comfort, familiarity, and anyone who doubted the mission. Most people fail because they try to carry everything forward, but what you refuse to cut will eventually slow you until you stop. 3. Move first. Think while moving. His greatest weapon wasn't power, it was initiative. Nobunaga forced his enemies to respond. He kept them reacting, never leading. And in life, that's the edge. Not perfection, position. You move first. You make others adjust to you. You create pressure and then stay calm inside it. That is dominance without shouting. 4. Decide with finality. Nobunaga didn't revisit decisions. He didn't over-explain them. He made the cut and let the blade speak for him. That kind of clarity is rare, because most men fear being wrong more than they want to be free. But Nobunaga's lesson is this: indecision costs more than any mistake ever could. Better to act fully and correct the course than to never act at all. If you want to live by the Nobunaga method, start here. Cut faster, carry less, move first, and decide like you'll never explain yourself again. Courage, without hesitation, is less than Hasson. 5 hash is greater than Potters. You know what you need to do? You've known for a while, but you keep circling it, naming it, planning around it, and all that noise feels like progress. But it's not. It's a disguise. You're not waiting for the right time. You're avoiding the cost. The cost of being seen, the cost of failure, the cost of deciding and being wrong. But Oda Nobunaga didn't ask for certainty. He asked for momentum. He moved when the risk was highest. He acted when the odds weren't in his favor, because he knew that hesitation doesn't preserve power, it drains it. Most men want courage without risk, but that's not courage. That's comfort. That's fantasy. Real courage is stepping into the fight before you're sure you'll win. It's launching the project, ending the habit, making the cut, before your doubt finishes the sentence. Because the longer you think about it, the more your mind will find reasons to wait. Nobunaga never asked, "What if it goes wrong?" He asked, "What happens if I do nothing?" And that question has only one answer: nothing changes. If you want a different life, you don't need more plans. You need more action. Sharp, decisive, final. Hesitation is soft. Intention is sharp. And the world only respects the cut. Train the blade within is less than Hasson. 5 hash is greater than. Everyone wants to act like a warrior when it's easy, when it's safe, when there's applause waiting on the other side. But the real cut, the one that changes your life, always happens in silence. No one claps when you end the excuse. No one sees you choosing the hard path. No one celebrates the moment you walk away from comfort. That's why it matters. Because it's not for them. It's for the man you're becoming. Nobunaga didn't conquer Japan with kindness. He didn't build his path by being liked. He moved through resistance, by becoming the blade, sharp, direct, unignorable. And you're still waiting, still justifying, still holding the sword, but not using it. You scroll, you think, you imagine. But imagining is not action, and thought without movement dulls the edge. There's a blade inside you, and it doesn't need more theories. It needs training, discipline, clarity, and cuts. Cut the distraction, cut the noise, cut the fear, and act, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. If this message hits something in you, don't save it, don't share it, use it. Subscribe to the samurai method, not for inspiration, but for confrontation, to face yourself, to sharpen what the world is trying to dull. Because no one remembers the man who almost moved. They remember the one who did. You've heard enough. You don't need more lessons. You don't need more content. You need to decide. The men who shape the world are not the loudest. They are the ones who act before they're asked, who move while others hesitate, and who sharpen themselves in silence. Oda Nobunaga didn't wait for the right time. He created it. Now it's your turn. If you're done stalling, subscribe. Subscribe to the samurai method, not to consume, but to train. Because every day you wait, the blade gets duller. Start cutting. Start moving. Start now.